Welcome back to Dirty 20, everybody. Today, we're going to try and answer a question from someone in our community. Georgina Carpenter asks, "Hey, I'd be really interested to hear your opinion on the challenges a lot of groups are facing now we are in lockdown. I know a lot of people are moving to digital, and that for me has been a struggle. It's not the same atmosphere that you get huddled around a table with your dice and sheets. The current Covid-19 lockdown has meant that a lot of games have had to put a pause on their campaign or face the reality of having to move their game online. But as we adapt to this new situation, inevitably, there's going to be challenges, facing issues such as anxiety, depression, loneliness, and any number of mental health issues. We here at Dirty 20 like to think that D&D can have a massive impact on dealing with some of these conditions. So, you know what? Don't worry, Georgina. We got you, girl. Now, I'm going to present how I have been managing this situation to try to get some more D&D into my life. Now, disclaimer, this is not the best way to play online. It is definitely not the only way to play online. This is just how I've been going about it. At the end, I will give you some more options and resources that you can look into. There's lots of wonderful online advice on YouTube, which will get you playing in no time. So, in order to start playing D&D again, I tried a couple of things early on. But I struggled a lot with getting used to the system, feeling like I was able to play the kind of D&D that I want to play, which is very immersive, very tactical, and it was difficult. Eventually, I landed on the simplest way to do this, which was to use something like Skype or Facebook Messenger, some kind of video chatting app or program that I was familiar with, I'd used before, and basically just having my character sheet in front of me, having some dice and a pencil, and just playing online with my friends over video chat. Now, there are a few kind of cons that I would put onto this method. First of all, you have to be very trusting of your players if you are a Dungeon Master, because you can't see what they're rolling. And some players are, cheats. So that's one thing to consider. Another thing to consider is people talking over each other. It's very easy, like at a table you can kind of make a quip or say a joke or talk to someone quietly so that, whoever's turn it is can keep going and the DM can keep going. But online you have to be careful with crosstalk, and basically having a revised session 0 is not a bad idea when you first kind of decide to do this. Just, gather your players, tell them that everybody needs to be very conscientious of when they're talking and allowing people to finish. And again, not kind of hogging the limelight, which I can be guilty of. As I said before, I like to play a kind of tactical game, and that includes miniatures and maps and things like that. With this very, very simple method of just using Skype or Facebook Messenger, you can't do that very easily. And so there's nothing wrong with that. That's theater of the mind, pure theater of the mind. We've discussed that on the channel before. And, combat is a little bit more difficult, but you also get to flex some other muscles, descriptive language and things like that. You focus a little bit more on your character and what your character would do, as opposed to, what is the most efficient tactical thing to do in this moment. And the last con I would say for this is probably going to be one that applies to all of them, but it's worth talking about. Technology can be unreliable sometimes. If someone's internet connection isn't great on a particular day, if a lot of people are using the internet at that particular time that you play, it can be disruptive. Sometimes you just get cut off and you've got to, connect again to everyone. So these kind of limitations of technology are true for any way of playing D&D online. So it's something to consider. Now, the big pros for me for this method, the really simple one, is that you probably already know how to, Facebook chat or Skype or Zoom or any of these things. So you don't have to learn a whole new other program. And the biggest pro, in my opinion, is some D&D is better than no D&D. Genuinely. It's happened during this lockdown that sessions have been cancelled, or we've had trouble trying to get the technology going. And, you feel crestfallen because you don't get to enjoy your time with your friends and playing the adventure, developing your character. Now, this would also be true if for whatever reason your session got cancelled or what have you. But as I say, some D&D is better than no D&D. Now, that simple way of playing D&D is how I've been going about it thus far, but I have my eyes on a slightly more complex way of doing it, which is using something called a virtual tabletop, a VTT. Now, there's a lot of them out there, and I'm going to give you some names. We'll also put some links in the description for you to check them out for yourself. Do a YouTube search for some of these VTTs, and there'll be tutorials or instructional videos to show you how to use them, and they're pretty impressive with what they can do. But the one that I feel like I'm in and I want to learn how to use is called Fantasy Grounds. Fantasy Grounds is a VTT that has been around since about 2004. It's kind of like the granddaddy of them, as far as I can tell. And they have a free demo version that you can download and install on your computer or your laptop. They have a monthly subscription, which is around about the $10 kind of range, about £9, something like that. And then they have the one-off payment, which grants you a lifetime license, which is about £140, $150, something like that. Now, what's important to remember is that if you go the demo version, you can't set up a game. You can't be a dungeon master, right? So a dungeon master, if you pay the full license, the £140 version, you can set up a game and all your players can just have the free demo version. Otherwise, everybody needs to be paying for a monthly subscription. Now, some cons that I'm kind of expecting for Fantasy Grounds. There is a steep-ish learning curve. I mean, like anything, it's a new program, one that does things that you're maybe not familiar how to do. And so you have to watch videos, you have to spend time trying to get to know the program and where things are. Like anything, it's, a learning process. You will get better the more you do it, but at first it's going to be a struggle. Now, if you do pay for either the monthly subscription or the, full lifetime license, you only get the SDR rules, which is basically the open source D&D rule set. So it's kind of the basic rules in the program. Now, that's fine. You can run games with that. You can play in campaigns. But say you want to play a Way of the Shadow monk, you're not going to be able to, because that is not in the rule set that you get for free. You can buy Wizards of the Coast materials. So you can buy the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, and obviously the core books make running the game much easier. But then, there's extra books. There's Xanathar's. There's the Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. There's the Tome of Foes, Volo's Guide. You start spending more and more money, and that's fine. It's a business. That's how they're going to make their money. But it can be a bit of a struggle, especially now, to be kind of throwing a lot of money at this problem. With Fantasy Grounds, you still need to use a video or voice chat app. So, you know, this is an additional layer that you would put on top of what I mentioned earlier with the more kind of simple way of playing D&D online. So, I mean, this is how I'm doing it. And once again, I'm not saying that this is the best way or the only way, but I'm starting with, you know, using Facebook Messenger to video all my friends, and we chat for like 10-20 minutes, and then we get into playing. It's been a lot of fun, and I have really enjoyed it, but it's still not the same as playing in real life. Now, it never will be, but I can get a little bit closer. Starting with the simple version and then adding a VTT to make the tactical game more interesting, or being able to run some of the pre-written adventures makes it enticing and interesting, I think. With the pre-written adventures, it is a question of it's easier to run from a VTT than I think that it is in real life, because having to flip through a book is not as convenient as being able to have box text to read right there, as well as monster stats, which you don't have to go to the appendix at the back of the book. All of these things that make running a pre-written adventure a little bit difficult actually become a little bit easier with a VTT. Probably the biggest pro with Fantasy Grounds and most VTTs is the fact that you can import images, maps, cool artwork, and use it in your campaign. So rather than, say, printing off a bunch of images that you show to people or having an iPad there, with the VTT, you can share images, you can share handouts to specific people. One really cool thing is you can type something in as a message, and you can send it to all the players, but you can send it in a particular language, like Elvish. And only the players that have Elvish as one of the languages that they're proficient in will be able to read the message that you've sent. Everyone else is just going to get some beautiful characters, but they're not going to understand what it says. Pretty cool. As I said before, there are a lot of VTTs out there. And I'm going to give you just a little taste of some of the ones that I've found in my research to give you an idea for you to then go out and do some research and find the one that fits you the best. First of all, you have Roll20. Now, Roll20 is probably the most used VTT. It's free. It includes a video and voice in the program, and it's one that you use through your browser, so you don't have to download anything and run any program on your computer. It's pretty cool. I've tried using it a few times, and there's a steep learning curve. It can be a little bit unreliable, but a couple of times that I have used it and it's worked very nicely, I've really enjoyed it. It's made combat much better. Once again, you can also buy Wizards of the Coast content and run, you know, stuff from its Curse of Strahd or, you know, Tomb of Annihilation. Any of those adventures you can buy and run on Roll20. Astral Tabletop is one that I have never used myself, but it's been called the Roll20 Killer, which, you know, is how journalists like to cause beef between D&D players, I guess. It's free to sign up for, or if you want to go pro, it's $9 a month. Again, fairly reasonable, not that much. Astral has partnered up with Drive-Thru RPG, which is a fairly well-known website that sells a lot of content, and you're able to import things that you buy on DriveThruRPG that's in your library into Astral. That's a pretty cool feature. Then you have something called Foundry Virtual Tabletop. This is a VTT where it's a $50 one-time payment. It's supposed to be really, really customizable, and you're able to, you know, make it run kind of how you want it to run. Like I say, I've never used it. Tabletop Simulator can be purchased through Steam, and it is literally a 3D environment of a tabletop. And you're able to play a lot of board games and also D&D through it. I haven't used it myself. It looks pretty funky, and Steam usually has good customer support and things like that. Another solution that you may have heard of with regards to video chatting or voice over the internet is Discord. Discord is a app where you are able to set up a server, almost like a forum, you know, back in the old days when forums were a thing, where you can have different topics, and you can also use it to chat online, but only voice, not video, as far as I know. A lot of people in the D&D community seem to use Discord, and it's fairly well thought of. I've only used it the one time, and we had technical troubles. Like all of these solutions, there's always going to be issues with either learning to use the program or it just not working for some reason. So there we have it. Hopefully, Georgina, we have kind of answered your question, and maybe now you'll feel a bit more confident in going out and just playing some D&D, because if you're not, you're probably missing it. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. Let us know if you have had much success with any of these programs or solutions for playing online. Do you have a favorite VTT that you use? Have you used multiple ones? And which one is the best in your opinion? Thank you once again, and keep slaying. If you've enjoyed this content, then please smash that like button, subscribe, share this around online, and come and visit our website, www.lavictoriaproductions.com, to see all our past episodes, as well as our blog posts and all the stuff that we're currently working on at La Victoria Productions. Why not reach out to us and tell us what you think of our videos? You can reach us on Twitter. @MouthLaVictoria is our producer. We are also on Instagram. I am EnanoLVP, and our producer is Jazzy J. Cherot. We're also La Victoria Productions on Facebook and LinkedIn. Come on by and let us know what you think.